Where was we? Aminor says that was it about the Arsenal thing. That's why we're speaking about that. Moses says, "Hear me out. Unpopular opinion." Ooh, here we go. I love Bruno, but I'll bench him and play Casemiro, Mainu as both 8s and Ugarte in the 6. Care to talk about this?
I mean,
Chat, get involved. He said, "Hear him out."
The Bruno thing's quite funny, actually, isn't it? Because when he came on against Barnsley on Tuesday, this is what's mad about Bruno. You could argue that he didn't play great. You know, it still does. He's at the beginning of this season, he hasn't looked like all firing, kind of super sharp Bruno, but he's still got 2 assists. That's what he does. That's what he does. And he'll play at the weekend, obviously, against Southampton. Of all the sort of positive performances we were talking about, he was maybe one of the negatives, wasn't it? Of going, actually, didn't really feel like he was on it today. And I don't know with Bruno, it feels like he maybe just hasn't kind of started yet, perhaps. But despite that, still gets assists. I mean, obviously that's what Moses is saying he would do. We know what Eric's going to do.
People in the chat, oh no, Eric's never going to do this. But Show says crackhead take. Tabra says not a bad idea. Jedi Pro says Bruno is polarizing because his performance is polarizing. Crystal says, I mean, it's not that bad. I like it more defensively solid, says Tywin. Joe Blackman says, why is everyone obsessed with playing Cassis at 8? Because when he's playing these passes, because we was watching it, Owen was watching against Barnsley.
He's got a pass at him.
And it ain't just Barnsley, to be fair. He did it against Southampton, but again, Southampton was shit. It was 2-0. But Fulham, he set up Bruno twice. Are we saying that Casemiro is better higher up the pitch? City, yeah. Are we saying that he's better higher up the pitch? What are we saying here? This version of Casemiro.
What it is. It's a bit like the Christian Eriksen situation, isn't it? Where we're like, I tell you what, actually, passing's not too bad. Got no legs. Can't really run around, which is a problem in this system because you need to be mobile. You need to be able to get around the pitch. I mean, we did see that. You saw it quite a bit with Ugarte on Tuesday, didn't you? Like, gets around, throws some tackles in. I do think that it'll be interesting to see with Ugarte. Is it just like because I know obviously, look, he had like the most tackles in the leagues he's been in, second most in Europe, so he gets stuck in, obviously. But that a whole with some quite wild fouls. We said with Casemiro previously, didn't we? The reason he's making some of those fouls is he's just getting there too late because he's got too far to go, and he's just trying to sort of stretch by the time he gets there to kind of make contact or at least try and get the ball, take the player. I wonder if Ugarte is having a similar situation where it's just like, mate, there's a lot of distance to cover here, and I've got to fly into the tackles. I think with Casemiro, look, we said this when he signed, didn't we? That we were almost a little bit taken aback by actually going, his pass is not too bad, actually, better than I thought, And when we say passing, you have to kind of cut it up a bit because
you do.
He can give the ball away. His sort of short distance passing, can you just pass it like 10 yards? Oof, you don't know. Sort of in front of the back 4, middle of the park. Yeah. And then he would, in his first season, he would do the pass the ball away, go win it back. And everyone would be like, Casemiro won the ball back. But he gave it away in the first place. But those kind of sort of more longer sweeping passes or, final third passes, he does have something about him. I don't know if that means play him as like an 8 or a 10 or anything like that. I think the game on Tuesday and those Europa League games coming up, I think are what the game's sort of best suited for him now, in all honesty. I just don't know if you're going to get that much time in the Premier League with the way that we play as well.
No, I think we have to be really careful. And again, this ain't the Casemiro agenda. So you're saying you just got an agenda against him. We see what we see. We know what we know. Like, yes, there are redemptions that can happen. And, he's a strong-minded individual. He's a winner. So he will know that last year was absolutely atrocious and he has to be a lot better this year. So there will be some sort of improvement. Obviously, the Liverpool game was a real bad one. That wasn't just because his legs are gone. That was like his confidence completely went. Like when he was tripping over the ball and making it go out for a throw and shit like that with no prep, like his head was gone. Like that was just a self-combustion. Get him out of there. It's like a boxer. You got thrown the towel. Get them out. Protect them from themselves. And because it was too quick succession, 2 quick mistakes, 2 goals, it just looked awful. His head was gone. You had to get him out. He ain't always going to do that. So I'm giving him his props there. He's going to be better. He is going to be better, especially now as well. our team is going to be better, I believe. But you know, the players are back. We've got better players as well that we've bought. And we're not going to have to rely on Casemiro anywhere near as much as we have been doing. Not just for the role that we're trying to make him play, but just in general in our squad. Now Ugarte is there, he won't be relied upon as much. I think he'll gradually get phased out. But the things that he can do when he's on the pitch, I think we could just simplify it. It doesn't. He's capable of playing deep if the team's set up well enough and the gaps aren't too big, and he can just pick his moments to go forward. That's what he did against Fulham when Ugarte wasn't there, and we were all going, "I tell you what, Casemiro,
Yeah.
Fulham are good." The reason why he did all right was because at the right moments he went forward. Our shape was pretty good. I know because Mason Mount was there in a different way. We were pressing high, winning the ball high up. If the team functions how it's supposed to function, there won't be this big emphasis on Casemiro to be this big, massive destroyer doing everything. The emphasis won't be
it's
there.
certain games, isn't it? That's why it's like
Certain games you can play him and he'll be all right in the 8 or higher up the pitch where he's basically playing as an 8 in build up. Other games we play away to Arsenal and shit like that. He's capable of like winning a few tackles and maybe you got to tell you what, because look at Man City at Wembley, we won't tell you what, Casemiro's doing all right. But we played the game in the right way. If the game's not played in the right way and there's loads of gaps and Casemiro is exposed and left on an island, he's in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
Gives away the ball because he's not that good on the ball. Give him space and time, he can pick a pass, but tight, intricate, spaces is not what he's good at. So I don't think we should be turning him into this 8 and say play really high up and be a chief creator. I just think get the team flipping set up right consistently so that if Eriksen plays in there or if Casemiro plays, it doesn't matter who plays in there. The system is right, so these players can play.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be certain games. It's going to be certain games, certain opponents. We know what the system is, really as well when it comes to that. So, yeah, I think again, it's just going to be certain games. I think for Casemiro this season, in all honesty, and but it's like you said prior to what game was it? It might have been last week when you thought he was going to start. When you said last week you thought he was going to start, and you're like, well, it's not as if like he can do nothing anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like well, obviously he can do something. It's just, and it's a difficult one as well because, for instance, I know obviously he had the stinker. Siren's in the chat. I know he had the stinker against Liverpool, but so did everyone in midfield too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Probably for the third goal did what Casemiro did twice.
Exactly. So
you know what I mean?
It will still have a part to play this season. Maybe it just won't be as prominent as it was last year.
Yeah, that we have to look. As bad as Casemiro has been, you look at the 4-0 last year. Oh my goodness, like what was going on? As bad as he's been, if you rely on him less and the team set up better, you won't get that type of isolation. It's just facts because and we know that because when we've played all right, there's all of a sudden he looks all right. He looks like he can just play a bit. And there's these types of discussions where we're going, tell you what, play him in the 8. Tell you what, this. No, it's not. It's not any of that. He's still the same player. He's still the same player. If you ask him to do things that are way out of his remit, he's going to sink. If you ask him to do things he can do, he's going to swim. It's that simple. Like, do you know what I mean? And on top of that, of course, we need to phase him out. Too much high wages and, no feature in that. And that still stands. The longer thing is still a thing. But now he's our player. He's going to be here for the rest of the season. And we're paying him an awful lot of money. And we need to use the bits that he can offer us, which is his experience, which is, being a bit of a warrior and a destroyer. And when the time's right and the team's set up right, he can pick a pass.